And 3.
What is up, YouTube? My name would be OG Nick Marsh. This is Focus Hip Hop, and today... Alright, so, first of all, let me just get this out the way. I'm sorry that the video quality is so shit right now. Basically, I started recording on my phone. I was like maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 minutes in, and then my phone ran out of space. No matter how many videos I delete, how many photos I delete, how many apps I delete, for whatever reason, my phone just will not, like, it just stays full. And yes, I have been deleting the recently deleted folder. I don't know what the fuck the issue is, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so I'm recording on my computer right now. So that's why it looks like this. But yeah, let's get to the point. The reason you clicked on this video. Last night was Kendrick Lamar's Pop Out with Ken and Friends. That shit was insane. That shit was crazy. Probably the greatest live performance I've ever seen. Not in person, but well, shit, even including the shit I've seen in person, including Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City tour when he came to North Carolina with Black Hippie back in 2012. I was there for that, and that shit was fire. That's also when I realized that I don't like going to live shows. And, you know, obviously I like seeing the artists perform. It's really about the crowd and the audience that I can't stand. That's what prevents me from going to more live shows. But anyway, let me get back to the point. So, you know, the whole beef happened. This is my first time making a video really since at least the Heart Part 6, that bullshit came out. They announced the show, and I guess I was a little intrigued, but I still made the decision that I'm not gonna be watching this. The reason for that is I don't know, it just didn't seem that the idea of watching a live show through a stream just didn't seem that appealing to me. I'll come back to this point in a little bit. So the show started, and it starts with like a bunch of artists that you've probably only ever heard of if you live in California or on the West Coast in general. And then they start bringing out more well-known West Coast artists. Westside Boogie comes out and does a show, a performance. I actually like Westside Boogie a lot. He was actually one of the first artists I ever covered on my blog. I did a review for Thirst 48, which was like his first... I don't know if it's his first project, but it's like the first one that really like was like, okay, this is Boogie. Like the first one that got any attention really. And I remember it's because Hot New Hip Hop actually was a big supporter of Westside Boogie. And you know, I don't really visit Hot New Hip Hop. I think it's low key kind of shitty. But that was what I used before I started blogging to like keep up with music and shit. Anyway, I'm rambling. So that happens. Then YG comes out. That's pretty cool. remember, I'm not watching any of this while it's happening. I just am like hearing about it through Twitter. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. YG, yeah, that makes sense. Um, he's from Compton. Drake tried to basically he name dropped him in Family Matters, and then was like trying to, I don't know, just I don't know why he brought him up. Really, I'm not gonna make any claims regarding Drake's intention with that, but YG himself did not seem to be happy about that. He came out with a song called Weird, where he was basically dissing the fuck out of Drake uh, over some classic West Coast production. Uh, I'm not sure if that was a mustard beat. I can't remember, but that wouldn't surprise me. Um, anyway, so that happens. I'm like, okay, this seems pretty cool, actually. Then I see a tweet talking about how Tyler came out. And when I saw that, I was like, oh shit. Like, when that happened, I was like, oh. Like, this isn't just like he's getting all of, like, literally all of the West Coast. Like, it's not just like the lane that he's like kind of in. It's like, no, like, and I mean, like, there are other artists he could have brought out, like well, I'm not gonna name names, but seeing Tyler there was like, whoa, like, that's when I realized, like, okay, this is bigger than I thought. And it's like, it seems silly to say in hindsight, because it's like, yeah, duh, like, this is Kendrick's first performance after the beef, his first public performance uh after fucking annihilating one of the biggest pop stars and rappers of all time. So obviously this should have been big. I don't know how the fuck I didn't really pick up on that, or think about that until the show started, but yeah, at that moment I was like, okay, I might actually have to tune in for this. So other notable things probably happened before Kendrick came out, but I wasn't watching, so I don't. This isn't an all-encompassing recap, but basically, Kendrick comes out, and I see a tweet from Backwash. Shout out to Backwash. I've covered her multiple times. My favorite project from Backwash is the Stigmata EP. That shit is amazing. Definitely listen to that if you haven't yet. But she tweeted something along the lines of, he's starting with this? No fucking way. And when I saw that, I was just like, wait, what's happening? And then I checked the replies, and I found out basically that he opened with Euphoria. And that's all it took. When I found that out, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to watch this. Like, I need to see this in real time. So I went to Amazon Prime. I typed in my dad's email. Then I typed in the password. He has 2-factor authentication on. So it's like, check the phone number that ends with, his last few digits. So I'm like, oh shit. So I have to wait for him to send me the shit. By the time I actually get into Amazon Prime, first of all, once I got into Amazon Prime, I couldn't even find the stream. I was like, what? Where is it? They didn't have it like as the first thing. Like, I scrolled for a while, and I never actually found it on the website I had to go to Google and look up Ken and Friends, the pop out, and then click on a news article, which in the news article they had the link to it. So that's how I finally found it. By the time I got to the stream and started watching it, they were like, Kendrick was just finishing up his performance of All Right. So I actually didn't see the first 3 songs, which were Euphoria, DNA, and Element. Now, I have since gone back and watched the performance of those 3 songs. Amazing. I saw a tweet from someone that was like talking about how Kendrick is basically dissing Drake all over again with these songs that he had previously released, because under the new context you could easily interpret a lot of the lyrics in those songs as like subliminal disses to Drake. And I believe that they were always meant as disses to Drake in particular, but we just didn't know. And given the new context, it's a lot more clear. I will say, in particular, Element, if you listen to that song now, it feels like way more scathing than it did when it was released in 2017. Like, you know exactly who he's talking about now. It's crazy. And then, like, just him being on stage at this event and him saying, "I'm willing to die for this shit," like, that is crazy. So after that, he does Swimming Pools. Swimming Pools is cool. Oh, wait. Let me back up a little bit. So one thing that I found funny was before he started All Right, he was like, "Let's take it back to day one." And it's just weird because I don't know why to him taking it back to day one means playing one of the biggest songs from his 3rd album. Like, I was expecting to hear something from Section 80. When he said take it back to day one, my first thought was Rigor Mortis. And I know even that's not really day one. Like, he could have gone to Overly Dedicated, but he really could have gone like all the way back to, well, maybe he couldn't have gone that far, but I don't know. Then he did Swimming Pools. Then he did Money Trees, and when he did Money Trees, he brought out J-Rock, which was cool as fuck. At the same time, I kind of saw that coming, but it was still awesome to see, and I would have been disappointed if it didn't happen. Then they do Win. The performance of Win inspired some very cheesy fan fiction from me. But it was cheesy on purpose, and that's kind of the joke. Then they did King's Dead. It would have been cool as fuck if Future came out, but it wouldn't have really made sense. So I guess I'm kind of glad that Future didn't come out. Then this is where I started getting really hyped. 616 in LA. Not only because that song is fucking incredible, but mostly because Ab-Soul came out. And the reason Ab-Soul came out was, I guess, because like the next day after that song came out, Ab-Soul posted a video of himself singing the intro to the song on IG, on his Instagram story. So I was like, yo, what if Ab-Soul has a verse on this? That would be cool as fuck. That didn't end up happening. You know what? Let me just talk about Ab-Soul for a second. I feel like I don't. It may not be obvious to people who follow me how big of an Absol fan I am. I did that. Hip Hop 50 list of my. I think it was either 30 or 25 favorite rappers of all time. Absol was not on that list. But like he has a real shot of like earning his spot on that list. I'll say that. Like Control System obviously is I feel like it's a classic album, and I don't say that lightly because I think that's kind of a bullshit term these days. Like people call everything a classic, and the word is basically meaningless to me at this point. But fuck it, that album is a classic to me, like a genuine classic. And it's not even a perfect album. There are multiple songs on it that I don't like, but it's pretty consistent for the most part. A lot of the best songs Absol ever recorded are on it. Oh shit, fuck it, a lot of the best TDE songs period are on it. These days is nowhere near as bad as I remembered it being. It's a pretty solid album. It's a very solid album, low key. Now, yes, it does undeniably have some of the worst songs Absol ever recorded. Twacked is terrible. I think Sapiosexual was on that. Terrible. But it also has some of my favorite Absol songs, like World Runners with Lupe. That was like my favorite. That's my favorite song on the album, and it was an immediate standout when I first heard the album. I've loved that song since the album came out. Ride Slow, man. That song is underrated as fuck. That Danny Brown verse, crazy. That's one of my favorite Danny Brown features ever, and that's saying a lot. Now that I think about it, I genuinely don't think there's a Danny Brown verse that exists that isn't at least pretty good. Like I've never ever in my life heard Danny Brown rap and thought this isn't good. I've heard songs from him that I don't like. Okay, I'll take that back. I've definitely heard. See, the thing is, he'll do songs that just like aren't for me at all, and I like sometimes there's songs I hate, but even those songs, like for what he's going for, he's doing it pretty well. I just don't like what he's going for. But anyway, that's enough about Danny Brown. The Tree of Life on these days, crazy. God's Reign is dope. Of course, Kendrick's Interlude. So yeah, definitely I suggest giving that album another chance if you haven't listened to it in a while. You may hate it more than I do, but I think there's a good chance of it not being as bad as you remembered, because that was the case for me at least. Do What Thou Wilt, I loved when it first came out, and I listened to it a lot back then, but I have to admit I never really listen to it these days. I don't know what it is. I just don't like that album that much. It's not bad. It's just like I never really want to listen to it. But I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to it in a couple years and I'll feel differently. With all that said, I really feel like people slept on Herbert. That's my favorite Absol album. Yes, the Russ verse is trash. That song overall is just not that good. But pretty much everything else, like, bruh. I feel like Do Better is the obvious highlight, because when that dropped as a single, like, that immediately was on repeat. And it's become one of my most listened to Absol songs. But like the whole first 3 tracks of Herbert are fire. Hollandaise, bruh. Like when that came out as a single, I don't know what happened, but I just like I thought it was mid. But then when I heard the album, I was like, wait, hold up. This is actually like fire. Like his flow and delivery on that are so catchy. And then like he added the outro where he's just going crazy. I feel low key, I feel like Absol's flow is the best it's ever been at any point in his career. Cause like No Report Card, the BET I might be ET line, that was crazy. Hollandaise again, I've been addicted. I need Hollandaise, that's crazy. Of course, Do Better. The beat on Gangnam is amazing, but I gotta talk about It Be Like That, man. That song, holy shit, that is a good song. That is like one of my favorite Ab-Soul songs. And it's so Ab-Soul. Like, that is the epitome of why I love Ab-Soul. This is what I keep talking about these days. Emotional impact. That song is what I need to hear when I'm going through shit, bro. Not only because of the relatability of the first verse, but the hope instilled in the second verse. And it's crazy because it's like basically the same verse with just minor, well, I don't know if I should call it a minor adjustment, but like he just flips it. And it's like that song is the epitome of like why you should live. It's like why you should keep going. Like if I had a friend who was like really struggling with suicidal ideation, I would send them that song. And basically the message that I interpret from it is life is just ups and downs, man. And you got to stick around for the ups, cuz like it gets better. Like nobody really wants to hear that, and nobody believes it when they hear it, but it's just the truth. Like when you're going through shit, you don't think, like, you feel like this is the end of the world. Like this is it. But one lesson, or it wasn't even a lesson that I learned, it was more of like a conclusion that I had on my own. When I was in the hospital in 2017 after my suicide attempt, I just thought about it and I was like, I'm gonna smile again someday. And when I smile again, I'm gonna be glad that it didn't end. So yeah, that's a very important song to me. One of my favorite Ab-Soul songs. Listen to Herbert again if you haven't listened to it in a while. That album is fire. I really regret not reviewing it. But let me get back to the to the show. So Ab-Soul comes out. I spend a lot of time thinking about Ab-Soul, man. And it's not just because I like his music, but it's also just him himself. Ab-Soul has been through some fucked up shit. And like he continues to go through fucked up shit. It's not just the Book of Soul. Like if you've been paying attention to what he's been going through, like he tried to in 2022. Seeing him on that stage, just like, I don't know, man. It hit me. It hit me really hard. And that kind of brings me to my next point. the biggest disappointment with this show, basically the only disappointment with this show that I had, they missed the perfect opportunity. And if you're an Ab-Soul fan, you probably know what I'm about to say. Why the fuck did they not perform Terrorist Threats? Bruh. It would have been the best performance of that song ever. It would have been a major highlight of the show. The context was perfect. And it's all because of this line. This happened in real life. They had all the... Bruh. There were Crips and Bloods dancing to Not Like Us together in California on stage. It was crazy. So for them to not do Terrorist Threats when it has this line... Bruh. And yeah, I mean, I get why they couldn't do it. Because that would have been, like, controversial or whatever. But fuck it, bro. Like, this is, like, the first time since something like this has happened. Unless you, like, you probably remember Banging on Wax. But other than that, like, this doesn't happen. Like, I don't know. I was just really let down by that. Obviously, I still love the show, but I feel like it could have been even more amazing if they did that song. But then I realized after the show ended, I was like, wait a minute. Ab-Soul didn't really rap at all. Like, he didn't really perform. He just, like, got up on stage and was there and did some ad-libs. So I was wondering about that. And then I watched Dead End Hip Hop's coverage of the show. And they spoke about Ab-Soul a little bit. And I don't know if there's any truth to what they were claiming here. Or if they have, like, any valid reason to believe this. But their conclusion, which they seemed pretty convinced of, was that Ab-Soul was wasted and he couldn't have rapped because he was drunk as fuck and he's going through some shit and he's struggling with addiction. They seemed really sure of themselves with that claim. It's not something that I considered at all until I heard them say it. After I heard them say that, I was like, shit, that sucks. And I hope Ab-Soul is okay. I hope they're wrong. I saw another person's claim was that Ab-Soul was having mobility issues because of the I saw a response to that claim that said he wasn't having mobility issues, he was having eyesight issues. People who are familiar with Ab-Soul knows he has he's struggled with his eyesight a lot because of some shit he's gone through. So I really don't know what to believe at this point. The eyesight thing seems pretty reasonable. That one seems to make the most sense to me. It's also, I mean, it's still concerning, but it's not as concerning as as what Dead End Hip Hop was saying. Yeah, I don't know. So that was that. Then Collard Greens starts. Schoolboy Q comes out. I was like, holy shit, it's happening. Black Hippie is all together on the stage performing together. This is crazy. Like, for people who have been, like, longtime TDE fans, I'm talking, like, early 2010s, and especially people who were fans even before that, people who watched the rise of TDE, that was a special moment. I mean, it was a special moment for everyone, but I feel like people who were there from the beginning, like, it was even more special for them. So that was crazy. Schoolboy Q did that part, which it would have been cool to see them do the remix together. They didn't really do any actual Black Hippie songs. With that said, I am kind of glad they didn't do the That Part remix, because it features what genuinely might be the worst Ab-Soul verse ever, and it makes me sad to hear that, so I'm glad they didn't do that. But then they did King Kunta, Fire, most of y'all sharing bars, like y'all got the bottom bunk in a 2-man cell. Crazy. They did Mad City. So when they did Mad City, that's when I got a little, I don't know if worried is the right word, but maybe a little anxious. And it's because of the line where he says, if Pyrus and Crips all got along, which is cool as fuck. And it was awesome because, like, kind of with the terrorist threats thing, it matched the context of the show. But the end of that line is, they'd probably gun me down by the end of this song. And I know there's, like, no reason to actually believe that that would happen. But just him, like, putting that out there, it just felt a little weird to me. But I mean, I'm just a very anxious person in general, so it was probably just me overthinking. Then they did Humble. That was cool. That's my least favorite song on Damn. It's the only song on Damn I don't really like. But I get why he did it. It's an iconic song, one of his biggest songs ever. Then he did Like That. Crazy. That was fire. Then he brought out Dr. Dre. And, that's something I was like, man, what if he brings out Dre? That would be crazy. But when it actually happened, I was like, holy shit. Okay, this show is crazy. They did Still DRE and California Love. When they did California Love, I was like, oh my god, they're about to bring out Tupac. Then Dr. Dre, he says, he whispers, I see dead people, not like us starts. Crazy. Bruh. Crazy. Long story short, he does Not Like Us 5 times. I saw people saying he did it 6 times, which would have been cool because of the 6 God connection and whatever, but he didn't do it 6 times. He did it 5 times. What they're referring to is the instrumental started playing a 6th time, but Kendrick technically didn't really perform it a 6th time. Anyway, probably outside of the Ab-Soul thing, probably my favorite moment was, I think it was the second time he did Not Like Us, because the first time he did Not Like Us, he just did the first verse and then he ended it. And the way he ended it was fire, bro. He was like, he ended it on the A minor line. I don't know, just like I don't know, bro. The way he did that was clean as fuck. But the second time he did it, he actually did the second verse. And, bruh, when he got to the best part of the song, dancers came out. He had people dancing on stage. And fucking the pyrotechnics went off. Bruh, it was insane. Like, it was crazy. And when that happened, as I was watching, I was like, what the fuck, bro?
What the fuck is going on?
This is crazy. This is madness. Like, imagine being Drake. Bruh. Like, bruh. That shit was insane. And I'm glad I did this. I sent a voice note right after that happened in the shout out to Rohan in the Rap Music Plug podcast Discord server. I sent my reaction. I did a screen recording. I'll include it here.
Bruh! Bruh, kept it going crazy, bruh! Bro, when the fucking dancers came out and the fucking fireworks went off, like during the good part of the song, during the best part of the song, you know what part I'm talking about. It's like the climax of the whole song. Bruh. This shit is crazy.
Bruh, that moment, that was like the craziest moment pretty much in the whole show for me. That was the best moment. Easily. Not easily, but definitely the best moment for me. That's just when the excitement and hype reached an all-time high. And I was like, bruh, this man is not human. This man is a superhuman. This man has actual superpowers. It was crazy. This man is crazy, bro. And yeah, of course the way he ended it with all the iconic West Coast artists and then the people who are affiliated with gangs, different like sections of gangs, different gangs all in California, in LA getting on stage together to take a picture, and just like the unity and peace, that was a special moment. And I was kind of talking about this at the beginning of this video where I was like, basically I didn't realize how big this moment was, or how it was like, and I don't know how, because like it seems like a no-brainer in hindsight, and it's on Juneteenth. I was thinking about it and I was like, imagine being like, the whole time I was watching I was just like, bro, imagine what it's like to be there. Like, every single person in that crowd is going to remember that night for the rest of their lives. That's the story they're going to be telling to their children, to their grandchildren. Bruh. And there's so much to think about. Just imagine, like, not only going to the show itself, but just the emotions and feelings that come with, like, buying the ticket or RSVPing, or like getting together with your friends and planning on going to this. Because like, you know, everybody who, like, when they were getting ready to go, when they made the decision that they were going to go to this, they were like thinking to themselves, okay, this is undeniably going to be one of the most important events in hip-hop history that I have the chance to be a part of. Like, how did I not realize what was about to happen? Like, that's, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I've got to say. Oh yeah, I brought this up a couple times. Imagine being the Game right now, bruh. Like, the Game is such a clown, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, it's just, it's kind of crazy to say, but when I was a teenager, the Game was genuinely one of my favorite rappers ever. I know the documentary is like his classic album. I don't even like that album at all. It has like maybe 3 or 4 songs I like, maybe less than that, honestly. And yeah, I don't really like the game these days. Jesus Piece was always my favorite album from him. Uh, I still like that album. Um, I think the production is pretty incredible on that album. The beat on the title track in particular is one of my favorite beats ever. Pray with J. Cole, that sample is amazing. Shout out to Jameson on the hook. I haven't heard from Jameson in a while. I wonder what Jameson's been up to. But the track with Kendrick, pretty fire. The track with K. Roosevelt was always one of my favorites. The Pusha T track, fire. I don't know, a lot of the other songs that I used to love from him they just don't really hit anymore. And I think a lot of it has to do with the antics outside of the music. Obviously the game is still a legend, but like that doesn't really mean shit to me at a certain point. Like if you're continuously making a fool of yourself, like Melly Mel is a legend, and look what happened with him and Eminem. Shit, Eminem is a legend. Look at the shit he's been releasing. So it's like that's not an indication of whether I'm gonna be a fan of your music or not. So I actually did check out that Drillmatic album, and it was terrible. It was so terrible. That diss track targeting Eminem, what the fuck, bro? What was that? Like, what is he doing? And it just... The game... My impression of the game is that he has absolutely zero integrity. Everything he does seems to be an egotistical move to like try to big himself up. Justin Hunt made a video about I really don't need to talk about this. All you need to do is watch the Justin Hunt video about this. I'll put it in the description box. If you're watching on the blog, I'll embed it under this video. But yeah. So yeah, watch that shit. That's why I don't fuck with the game anymore. With that said, I haven't listened to every single project the game has put out. I heard good things about that 1992 album. I still want to check that out at some point. I will say this about the game. He has a song called Really, featuring Soulja Boy, Yo Gotti, T.I., and that might be it, honestly. There might be another feature that I'm forgetting, but I think that's it. The game's verse on that song, fucking incredible. That's probably my favorite game verse, which is, to be honest, saying a lot. Like, he has some amazing performances, but yeah, it's just, yeah. But yeah, check out that song if you haven't before. I actually am rapping that verse all the time. Like if an instrumental comes on, like I'll rap that verse. Like that's probably the verse I've memorized the best. I'm rapping it all the time. I love that verse. My favorite part is maybe the slaughterhouse scheme, where he says, I'll slaughter your house with 5 9s, leave all of you fuckers with crooked eyes, got the Louisville slugger bid, Poppy Ortiz, knocking every fucking button off of your buttoned up sleeves, bitch please. So, the first time I heard that, I was like, damn, that's fire. I didn't realize, like, I got the slaughter your house, 5 9s, crooked eyes lines, and then I got the big Poppy Ortiz reference to Joel Ortiz. And then for a while I was like, man, why didn't he mention Joe Budden? But then I was like, wait a minute. knocking all the buttons off your buttoned up sleeves. Bruh. When I made that connection, I was like, holy shit, that is fire. But at the same time, I was kind of young when I heard that. I wasn't really that used to hearing crazy wordplay. I wasn't really like tapped into like battle rap where that type of line is like the norm. So yeah. Like I've listened to Cambada, so it's rare for wordplay to really like blow me away these days. But at the time, that was like the craziest shit ever to me. But anyway, that's basically all I say. I'm rambling at this point. This has nothing to do with what the video was supposed to be about. So yeah, legalize it, don't demonize it. Stay keefy, my brothers and sisters, and as always, peace out.
It's totally surreal.